This movie was not really satisfying, though some parts of it were very well done. This is a Drafthouse Diary for Thursday, May 29th, 2025, when I went to the Alamo Drafthouse at Sloan's Lake to see Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme at a special screening that included a live stream Q&A following the feature. There are at least two parts to a Wes Anderson movie. There is the filmmaking itself. I don't think anyone will consider it a stretch to say that Anderson has a very particular style, a very stylized way of making movies that creates a distinct, somewhat precious environment for stories to play out. And then there are the stories themselves, which tend to be odd, unpredictable, character-driven clockworks. When Anderson is at his best, these blend very effectively into a film experience where the style and the story fuel and elevate one another. We can see that in Asteroid City, in Moonrise Kingdom, in The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. With the Phoenician Scheme, they did not quite come together. The execution was excellent. The visual style, the framing, the cinematography, the color, the design, the costumes, all of that came together to create this engaging fable of the 1950s, a place where it would be fun to hang out for a few hours. But the story, that was lacking. It was cumbersome, it was lagging. Sometimes it seemed literally to be by the numbers. Between chapters, we were treated to literal accounting ledgers as we followed our main character's quest to find backing for his grand final business and real estate project. It was disjointed, and while some of the vignettes worked, overall it didn't have much momentum. It felt like its engine kept sputtering, in need of a jump start. And toward the end, it gives way to cartoonish violence that just dragged on until it was genuinely boring. So at times, it felt like I was watching two different movies at once. The artifice of the filmmaking, full of entertaining quirks, and the story that barely allowed that to work. But then there were the performances. A lot of Anderson's usual company of actors shows up, including Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Jeffrey Wright, Scarlett Johansson, and others, sometimes working in harmony and sometimes a little off-key. But the three lead performances by Benicio del Toro, Mia Thrappleton, Michael Cera, these are what kept me watching and engaged. These traced a line through the film's problems to focus on an underlying story about family and identity. And that's the strongest element of this movie. The idea that our identities, no matter how we forge them, are in some part responses to our families. The drive to find a family, the drive to be accepted by the family we have, or a drive to rebel. And none of us do these things in exactly the same way. So in the end, I'm glad that I saw this. And my enjoyment was definitely enhanced by the post-screening live stream Q&A with Wes Anderson and the lead cast members. It's always interesting to hear about the intentions behind a movie and the decisions and the craft that went into bringing it about. This is not at all on my list of favorite Wes Anderson movies, but I acknowledge that my favorite Wes Anderson movies tend to be out of sync with what I hear from a lot of other fans. Do you have a favorite Wes Anderson movie? If so, I'd be really interested in knowing what those are. Let me know in the comments. Other parts of my trip to the Alamo. The Alamo pre-show was absolutely crafted for this movie. It featured a lot of trailers for thrillers and espionage movies, especially those set in the Near East and North Africa. It also included a music video, a short piece about a convent of nuns who practice karate. I know I've seen that one before. It's clearly a put-on, but it's shot in a news segment or documentary kind of style. There was also a montage of artwork and cosplay from a prior Alamo Fanderson celebration. I did get some dinner at this trip to the Alamo. I tried one of their recent additions to the main menu, the fried egg Frito pie featuring Shiner chili. It was all very good, though the most unnecessary and most difficult to eat part of it was the hard fried egg sitting on top of the whole thing. The pie itself was essentially chili and Fritos, along with some cheese and green onions and a few other things. It was good, it was very rich, and not something I'm going to get often, if ever again, but I'm glad I tried it. The service was good and fairly quick, even though this was a primetime screening and a practically sold out show. And it's interesting to note that, probably as a matter of time management, there were no trailers or previews between the Alamo pre-show and the feature. After the pre-show, they went right into the warning about talking and texting, and then into the feature. This was probably necessary to save time and stay in sync with the live stream Q&A at the end. If that actually is live, I expect it takes a lot of work to synchronize it across many Alamos around the country. Thank you very much for joining me for this Drafthouse Diary. I'll be back soon with more. In the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.